Damn, that looks good. Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. You caught me. I was just admiring my latest project, the Sega Genesis cabinet. Now, if you didn't catch that video, this is actually inspired by Intec's Sega Genesis control deck. I installed that deck on a second generation Mortal Kombat cabinet, then after adding artwork and then some custom game storage, you get what you see here. And because that control deck worked out so well, I was really curious to see what else Intec had to offer. So today I want to take a look at Intec's Switch Fighting Stick and then a couple of adapters. They're going to allow me to run different consoles, one being a PS4 and the other one a Dreamcast. Alright, that's enough talking. Let's get into it. Well, as you can imagine, the first step in this process is going to be to remove your stock or modded control panel to make way for the new one. Now, because I just purchased the Sega Genesis control deck from Intec, everything included in this package seemed very familiar. The new PCB with the new ribbon cable, an HDMI cable, and then a complete set of control panel overlays that, well, let's just say, aren't quite arcade accurate. This packet includes the instruction manual and the even more important labels for your buttons. With everything being stark white, those things are a necessity. The main difference between these two control decks, besides the additional buttons, is the fact that the HDMI port is going to be mounted on the PCB and not on the control deck. When you remove the deck protector, you're going to find a glittery white pearlescent finish that would make a bass boat jealous. Now, with your new control deck in place, let's go ahead and move around to the back of the unit, disconnect power, and remove the stock PCB. And I want to go ahead and take this opportunity to do a side-by-side comparison of the PCBs. The one on top came with my Genesis control deck. The one on the bottom is the new. They look almost identical with the exception of a few selector switches. Now, because these metal edges are sharp, I like to add a little bit of Tesa tape to protect the ribbon cable. And once again, when you make this connection on your monitor, make sure that the red wire is all the way to the left. The PCB will be marked with a red dot. So now it's time for the fun stuff. We're going to go ahead and start with the PlayStation 4. I'm going to mount that in the back. Plug in the HDMI cable included with your kit, and then obviously you're going to have to plug your game console into a separate outlet. And at this time we can go ahead and plug in our dongles for Player 1 and Player 2 into the front of the PlayStation. And then head around to the front of the cabinet, go ahead and get that instruction guide ready, and hey, now's a great time to install those included ball tops. So the pairing process for this is pretty straightforward. It's actually not that difficult. What you want to do is go ahead and turn the switch on. So we have power on the console and power on the control deck. Hold down the button until it begins to flash rapidly, like that. Go around to the front, hold down the Bluetooth pairing button for Player 1 or Player 2 for just a second, and then you'll see that blue light go solid. And then once the green lights on the control deck are solid, then you know the two are paired and you're ready to play. Now, I know that most of you are paying attention to Hitomi's attributes, but the rest of us are looking at the fact that we've got some screen mirroring on the very bottom. That's because this is a 5.4 monitor and it's outputting the video in 4.3. Now, this is really no big deal. It's an easy fix. Go back to your manual and you're going to see that your PCB has a selector switch. I believe it has an A and B position that will switch from 5.4 to 4.3. Take the PCB off the back of the monitor, throw the switch, and you should be good to go.
This is going to hurt. Ultra Big Bang! Come here!
Okay, so when it comes to the PS4, I'm really satisfied. There seems to be no issues there, and it plays really well, but I can't wait to check out the Dreamcast. Now, if you're going to do that, you're going to need one more thing, and that's an HDMI adapter. I'm using the one from Pound Technologies. Okay, as we begin to install the Dreamcast, you have to remember that most of these HDMI adapters require their own power source. So that means another outlet and a micro USB cable. The pairing procedure is going to be identical to the PS4 adapters. Hold down the button until the blue LED begins to blink rapidly, and then once it turns solid blue, you know that it's paired with your control deck.
Welcome back to the stage of history.
Now, I did hit one snag. Because I'm using this Pound Technologies HDMI adapter, some of the games didn't recognize the cable and I wasn't able to play that game. Now, it is important to note that when you power down the console to change games, you don't have to go through the entire pairing process. Simply press one of the buttons on your controller, 1 or 2 player, and it will automatically repair with the adapter as long as you haven't unplugged it from the console. Okay, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What do I really think about this? So, for the most part, the PS4 works well. Let's talk about those dongles, those attachments. When you buy these, this is what you get. You're going to get 2 of these. They have little caps. They're like a USB thumb drive, right? Pretty simple. They also come with, you buy these, they come as a pair. And you're also going to get a decent, it's kind of small, but it is a decent little instruction manual specifically for the PS4 and the mapping of all the buttons. You also get a set of stickers, which sounds kind of silly, but if this is going to be a designated PS4, arcade cabinet, these really come in handy. But then that's it. That's really all you need, and you're good to go. If you want to get just the dongle, the set themselves, they're $35 a pair, and away you go. There is a combo on Amazon right now. I'm going to leave links for all this stuff in the description. It is $150 for the actual deck and the PS4 dongles, and you're all set. You're ready to go. Now let's talk about the Dreamcast. So as far as price, it is going to be the same. You're going to have the ability to buy a $150 combo that's going to include that deck and then a pair of these adapters. Now, these adapters, a little bit confusing. So they have an actual port on the side, on the back here, a micro USB. I don't know what it's for because the instruction booklet that comes with it doesn't really tell you what it's for. Now, what is interesting is that you have the ability to pair like a PS4 or Xbox controller to this adapter, so you could, theoretically not only just use the Intec control deck to connect to your Dreamcast, but a PS4 controller. Kind of weird. Now, when it comes to button mapping, the only details provided are really for the PS4, the Switch Pro, and the Xbox One controller. Nothing specifically about the Intec deck, which is weird when you compare that to the PS4 instructions that actually have a little map and show you exactly how those lay out. Now, because you are restricted to HDMI, you're going to have to get some kind of an HDMI converter cable for the Dreamcast. I'm using the one from Pound Technologies. And as you saw in the video, I had a compatibility issue with one of the games, NFL Blitz. It's a damn shame. And these little Bluetooth adapters lack support for VMU, so no save data whatsoever. That's disappointing. So with all that being said, I think I definitely like the PS4 and the newer console integration better. Save data is going to be stored locally on those devices, so it's really no big deal. Unfortunately, the lack of VMU support really kind of kills it for me when it comes to the Dreamcast, and then also the limitations of the AV cable is going to be a Pound Technologies problem. Maybe I can try a different HDMI cable, and I won't have that issue in the future, but that's also a limitation, another workaround, an additional $35. And there's also still one big thing left to consider. This is really only going to fit seamlessly with those first and second generation RK1-Up cabinets. If you try to put this on a third generation or newer, you're going to have a large gap between the control deck and the monitor itself. Also, the speakers are integrated into the deck, so you're not going to be able to take advantage of the larger speakers. Arguably the better speakers on the RK1-Up mounted above the monitor the way that it should be. So when it comes to those first and second generation cabinets, maybe you've got one in the back of your arcade, doesn't get a lot of playtime, this is a perfect way to kind of breathe new life into it and maybe even kickstart your own RK1-Up project. I want to say thanks again to Intec for sending me these units for review, and if this video helped you out in making your decision, give me a like and maybe even consider subscribing. I really would appreciate it. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out the channel. Y'all have a blessed day, and I will see you next time. Damn, that looks good. It's the greatest human achievement ever. Makes the Mona Lisa look like it was done in crayon by a blind 4-year-old. God, can't do it.